to Trey News. More from Red State Watcher. Breaking: the most horrifying video on the internet was just released by ABC News. Shocking footage shows mother and child fall several feet off a ramp after being hit by a reversing car. Wow, that's terrible. Lucky the car didn't fall right on top of them after the fact. You gotta love the music they put with it, eh? Breaking: former Obama campaign manager fined $90,000. Look what he did. That's him there. Former Barack Obama campaign manager and Uber senior executive David Plouffe was fined $90,000 for illegally lobbying Chicago's mayor. ChicagoTribune.com reports a former Uber senior executive who once served as Barack Obama's campaign manager has been fined $90,000 by the Chicago Board of Ethics for illegally lobbying Mayor Rahm Emanuel on behalf of the ride-sharing company. The board voted 5-0 to find that David Plouffe violated city ethic rules by failing to register as a lobbyist after contacting Emanuel to help the company on regulations for picking up travelers at Chicago's two airports. Plouffe's lobbying violation only became public after Emanuel in December released hundreds of personal emails related to the public businesses under the pressure of two open record lawsuits alleging the mayor violated the state's open records law. Something tells me his life's about to change dramatically, if it has not already. Paul Ryan just revealed everything to Sean Hannity. Look what he said. This guy's a real piece of work. I remember during the primary he would demonize Trump. Now he's trying to cozy up. I am starting to have the suspicion that he's like Reince Priebus, like a mole within the Republican Party feeding information to the other side. That's what I believe. House Speaker Paul Ryan interviewed with Fox News host Sean Hannity and revealed the list of policy changes which will occur in the first 200 days of President Trump's administration.
Are you telling the American people that agenda, that litany, I'll go vetting refugees, building the wall, repeal, replace, education reform back to the states, tax reform, all of this is going to be done in 200 days.
The education part may be a little later because we're waiting for Betsy DeVos to put together her plan. So on the education thing and the welfare reform, that's going to be outside of the 200-day window. Inside the 200-day window is the regulatory reforms we talked about. It's the repeal and replace Obamacare. It's the budget. It's the rebuilding of our military. It's tax reform. Those are the things that we're working on, and infrastructure. Those are the things we're working on in this 2017
Where's energy independence
calendar.
In the equation? Because I think
that's in there as well. I should have said that. We see that as part of regulatory reform. By the way, we've already done a lot of energy independence. The coal regulation that we repealed from the Obama era, that is a huge energy independence move because it's going to bring back thousands of jobs in coal country. We can unlock Western Europe. We can compete with OPEC. And we couldn't get this with Barack Obama. Now with Donald Trump, we can permit those things.
Back to the main list. So in 200 days, you're fairly confident that a budget is going to be passed. I'm going to get to the specifics. Two budgets, which has never happened. That the wall is in the process of being constructed.
Yeah.
We're going to be working on fixing the VA. That Congress will support extreme vetting, and that they'll move forward with energy independence.
Yes, so
and Obamacare repeal and replace.
He can do the extreme vetting on his own. So this is a good. The good thing is you have a president that agrees with Congress on doing the extreme vetting.
But in 200 days, you think that's doable? This
is our plan, yeah. And if there's any slippage, we'll finish it in the fall and get it done before the end of the year.
So if I come back in 200 days, you're gonna go, well, I made a promise. We got to because I think this is important.
So here's what I'm saying. We've mapped this out for 200 days. We have a plan to do that. We're on schedule. But if anything slips because of another Supreme Court justice, or a filibuster on a cabinet nominee, that might slip us. But we're making sure that we do all of this in 2017.
Well, I mean, that all sounds fantastic, and I believe him when he says it. Unfortunately, I don't trust Paul Ryan. I think he's a piece of garbage. He always has been, and as far as I'm concerned, he always will be. Not to mention the fact that he was actually on George Soros's payroll in 2015 after that list came out. So, not to be trusted. President Trump has just received the ammunition he needs to dominate a new arena. The race to space. NASA, who has already had plans to launch its new Jumbo Space Launch System, SLS, is now making efforts to include a crewed mission into their plans in an effort to meet Trump's desire to send astronauts to orbit the moon before the end of his first term. Space exploration. See, that's what we really were made for, to reach for the stars. President Trump has indicated that he wants to make a splash in space. During his transition, he spoke with the historian Douglas Brinkley about John F. Kennedy's famous 1961 vow to go to the moon before the decade was out. Now Trump and his aides may do something very similar. Demand that NASA and astronauts to orbit the moon before the end of Trump's first term, a move that one Trump advisor said would be a clear signal to the Chinese that the U.S. intends to remain dominant in space. Damn right, I love that. NASA already has a plan to launch its new Jumbo Space System rocket with an Orion capsule on top in late 2018, a mission known as EM-1. No one would be aboard. The capsule would orbit the moon and return to the Earth, splashing down in the ocean. This is intended as the first test flight of SLS and part of the integration of the new rocket and new capsule. Significantly, the SLS and Orion are both still under construction. According to current plans, a crewed mission, EM-2, would not be launched until several years later under the NASA timeline. Certainly not during Trump's current term. That crew mission would also orbit the moon. Well, let's see what happens. Something tells me a manned mission to Mars wouldn't be out of the question.